Oh, the Two Eyes. Now, there's a godforsaken place that was. I used to work there. I sold the coffee and cokes and the apple strudels and rum barbers all day in there. And then in the evening I used to go down to the Black Hole of Calcutta, which was the cellar, and play skiffle down there. And well, rock was in then as well. We used to play all sorts down there. And I got 18 shillings a day for that.
I worked in the Two Eyes, actually selling coffee and Coca-Cola downstairs with Mickey Most. You know, the late Mickey Most. Because the Most brothers used to be with us on tour when we had the package show.
Was that when Jet was with them?
Jet would have been with them, yeah, because they were with us right from the off, the Most brothers.
The Two Eyes, of course, as you know, was named after the Irani brothers, or the Irani brothers, a couple of Persians who had this place as a restaurant, and they eventually took the name from them.
And everybody used to come down there. I mean, Adam Fate was always Terry. Me and him sat in the gutter one day, starving, me and Terry outside the Two Eyes coffee bar. I'd worn my shoes had dropped to pieces, and they'd fallen off. So I was very bohemian, walking about with no shoes. And I used to live in Victoria then. I used to walk all the way from Victoria to Soho with no shoes on. Anyway, we're sitting outside this Two Eyes one day, and I said, Terry, because I'm called Terry, we're both Terrys. I said, Terry, I'm starving. He said, so am I. He said, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. Anyway, a mate came along and gave us £half apiece. And that £half then bought a mountain of spaghetti bolognese in the Act 1, Scene 1, opposite the Two Eyes. That was another coffee bar. So me and Adam went in there with this bloody great plate of spaghetti. That lasted us a week. But everybody was skint down the Two Eyes, mostly musicians down there. There's so many people come out of that place. It was probably, really, it was the only place to go, I suppose. There was also the freight train, that belonged to Chas McDevitt.
With the success of all the coffee bars, and in particular the Two Eyes, as soon as I had a little bit of money behind me, I decided to open my own coffee bar, and I bought a premises in Berwick Street, called it the Freight Train. Had it for 10 years, from 1958 to 1968.
We were sitting in there one day and Disley came in and got his guitar and started. It was great.
And it was a mecca for a lot of the groups. We were open so late at night that whenever they came back from a gig, they'd either stop off there or drop their gear there or wait. Many of them had girlfriends who were worked in nightclubs, and they'd come and wait for their girlfriends to finish in the nightclub by waiting in my coffee bar. In fact, I think Hank Marvin met his first wife in my coffee bar. Johnny Kidd, Clem Catini, they were in my coffee bar one night before their recording session. They suddenly realised they didn't have a B-side ready, so they went down in the basement where all the old Coca-Cola crates were and broken doors, and they wrote, shaking all over, without a guitar, and took it to the studio the next day, and with Joe Moretti on guitar and Alan Caddy, it became their first big hit.
But they were all over the shop, these coffee bars, because it was the in thing. A lot of it was folk music, though, you know, the foldy, roldy, diddly, didy. I can't stand all that. I used to go to the cinema a lot, and I was living at home at the time, and I had the monkey. But when I went to the cinema, I left him in my bedroom because he was asleep. Anyway, I'm sitting in the pictures, and this is the days when they used to write messages on the screen, and it'd come up, you know, in handwriting like that. And I'm sitting there watching this film, and it came up, "Would Terence Harris please go to the foyer?" I thought, that's me. So off I went up to the fire and there's me dad stood there. He said, get home. I said, what's the matter, what's the matter? He said, the monkey's gone berserk. My dad kept trying to go into the bedroom and because they were one-man pet, you see, he kept trying to open my bedroom door and there was the Mosty going... So he climbed up on the window in my bedroom and he messed in his hand and he rubbed it all over the windows. My dad went out the back into the garden, peering up at my bedroom, and there's the monkey going. So he torn all my wallpaper off. I had some pills for something or other. I forget what it was now, but he'd ate all my pills. Anyway, wound up, my mum, she slung me and the monkey out. I had to go and sell him up the pet shop, poor sod. I know, I was choked. I had a great tour with Willie in that variety times.
Hey.
That was the best when we did 20 odd variety theatres. I remember the poor dancing girls, they got £6, 10 shillings a week. The Marie de Vere dancers, I think they were called. Full board then in one of these guest houses was £2.50 a week. That was an evening meal and all. £2.50 a week. They don't even buy someone a pint now, do it? There was about 8 in the Troubos, but their last number was the can, and they used to do the splits towards the footlights. And some of these old stages, these theatres, they used to come off their stage absolutely embedded with splinters. And us blokes used to get the tweezers for them and pull these splinters out. Another piece of useless information. But that's what it was like then. It was good, better than it is now.
So what's name was a comic, wasn't it? Harris.
Jerry Harris?
Jerry Harris, I mean, yeah. Do you remember him, Jerry Harris?
Of course I do. That was show business. Then there was a juggler on called Pierre Bell. French he was. And I took him out one afternoon. And he'd never tasted Guinness, so I got about 6 pints of this Guinness down this Pierre Bell. When he came to the show at night, he's juggling tennis rackets and all, they were dropping everywhere. When he woke up the next morning, he said, "Never again will I go out with you, Harris." Can you imagine standing in the wings, all us musicians, and there's this puppeteer, she's all dressed in black, and the spotlight, of course, was on the dolly, you see. And on the side of the stage, she had a rack. And when she'd come off, she used to hang them up, these puppets, on this rack, and she'd give them a bollocking. I mean, she'd turn to the little ballerina and she'd say, "If you ever do that again on stage, I will not let you wear the pink tutu." Of course, in those days, there was about, I don't know, 8 different acts on a show.
Well, that was the great thing about then. Of course, you had these wonderful bills when they got to the stage of doing rock and roll package shows. Everybody did do 15, 20 minutes, and you got the best possible act out of every different staged craft that was there. As opposed to now, where people expect you to pay for 2, 3 hours. It's never going to be as good as seeing the best 20 minutes that you can do.
When the Drifters started in the Shadows, there was still a number of variety bills where you'd have the comedians and you'd have maybe a juggling act or a troupe on first of acrobats. Now, at the beginning, I think family audiences appreciated that and thought, well, we've been used to this. We see it on, Sunday night at the London Palladium. You get some jugglers, then you get a rock group. But very, very quickly, that scene changed, and those people, the plug was pulled on them because you get there, and even the comedian, the compere, were like, yeah, all right, come on, get off, you know. So it was, people started getting impatient with the variety acts.
If we were top of the bill, we'd probably have a couple of dancers opening the show, a comedian and maybe a juggler. I remember at one stage we went on with a cowboy and his horse.
What a lot of people don't know is the fact that, well, they knew that Hank and I were with the skiffle group, the Vipers, for a while. But what they don't know is that we took, Wally White and myself and Hank, we took, we slung a piece of music together. I think we called it The Fly. And it was the first showing of a real echoed guitar. And we took it to George during a session and played him this Fly, and he was impressed. And it makes me think, if George had pursued that, Wally White and Hank Marvin and myself, and I think Tony did a bit of drumming for us, I can't remember, I'm sure he did, we could have become the Shadows with that sound, because we were making that sound before the Shadows were born.